Well, good morning, community. Happy Wednesday. Here we are. Welcome to Stroke of Genius Show Survivor Experience. I'm your host, Aaron Avila. I've got a real special guest for you today, Lori Vober. I'm gonna cut her last name how to say it, but I'm gonna say Vober right now. You believe what I want? This should be two parts. Let's talk about her stroke, see what she went through. And then let's talk about how she used her stroke to actually live again and to to catapult her into a different direction in life. So let me bring her online and um, I really hope you enjoy it because I think it's amazing. So let's get right into it.
Welcome to the Stroke of Genius Show Survivor Experience. Now, here's your host, Aaron Avila.
Well, good morning, Lori.
Good morning, Erin. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a real awesome blessing to have you here. So I appreciate you being here. You're coming to us live from Arizona.
That's correct, yes.
And we clarified you don't play golf, but you do play putt putt.
Yes,
All
correct.
right. I really knew what I was talking in the agreement before the show. We got a couple people out there already coming to us. It might be a friend of yours. So I'll bring this up. This is, do you know this person, Caddy? Katia, no. Well, but Katia, oh, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you being here. Please feel free. This is a fully interactive and real show. So if you say something in chat, I'll bring down the screen Laura, and I'll talk to you. So feel free to do that. That's kind of why when we're here for you. Bottom line, we're here for you. Oh, she's in my Facebook group. Yes, she's in my Facebook group. But Louis, we only got 30 minutes to get there, so we're gonna get right into it. I kind of told you earlier I want to know about your stroke and kind of what you went through, and how you used it to catapult your life to a different direction. So, we'll describe your life before your stroke. What did you do?
Yes, so I was in corporate America. Right now is marketing and sales, and I was actually working at the airline industry right before my stroke. And 3 weeks prior to my stroke, I made a major job change to actually our church. My husband and I were trying to start our family biologically about a year, and we had not been successful yet, and just thought that we were very busy, very stressed. I was
Yeah.
traveling a lot, and so we thought a job change would slow life down. And I had a strong faith prior to my stroke. And so I now look back and I say many times what is our plans are not God's plans. But I made that job change thinking that would slow our life down and help our family planning. And unfortunately, 3 weeks into the job, I did have a massive stroke. My stroke was a hemorrhagic stroke. And so I say now, though, that my plans were to slow my life down for family planning, and God's plans were literally to save my life and to put me in a safer environment because I was at our church. When my stroke happened, I was with coworkers. It was a Friday afternoon. A Bible study was going on, and we were just shy of our 5th-year wedding anniversary at the time. I was only 29, and I unfortunately was not fully aware of signs of the stroke like I should have been, just because of a younger age. And so I am much more passionate now about sharing the signs of strokes with others, just because I was not aware at the time of the signs. I didn't feel well that day. I had a headache. It felt sick to my stomach. But again, I just was not clued in of the signs of strokes like I should have been, and till it was almost too late.
But that's really not uncommon. Most people, especially us, you had your stroke a lot younger than I did. Not It's amazing. In 5 years in the marriage, I can't imagine. But um, you know, I had warning signs. I did the same thing you did. Brushed it off, ignored it, didn't know about it. I had severe headaches, and I brushed off the migraines. But so let's talk
Mm.
about face for a minute. Let's raise a little stroke awareness. But face is F for face drooping. If you are actually in a stroke, having a stroke at that moment, your face will droop. In fact, if you look at my left eye, my fifth side is drooping a little bit. There is a droop to it. But when someone's having a stroke, your face will droop on one side. So, and it's A, which is oh god, I stroke. I'm sure what's A? What's A? Arm weakness.
Arm and leg weakness, and I had both. Actually, my arm was weak, and it wasn't though until Aaron, my leg went numb, and my leg I went numb when I sat at my chair, and I fell from my chair that I was sitting on, and that was when the warning bells went off, and we called 911. Was when my leg went numb. And I finally realized, something is really wrong. So you're correct. A is the next one. That you got to get help right away.
Yeah, and by the way, that's a really good point, Laura. If you have any one or all of these signs of stroke, take it serious and dial 911. And really
Yes,
important.
it's better to be safe than
That's true.
sorry,
So
isn't it?
true. And we did
Yes.
have A, and then C is what? What's C? I forget.
Um, we usually I say
Yeah,
S, which
that's
is
it.
speech,
S.
and then T is time. Time is of the essence. Get help right away.
You know, that's so true now. How long did you go when we started having the signs? How long did you go for you in the hospital?
Oh, I waited hours, and but by the time from the time I called 911, when my leg went numb till they had me in the ambulance, and I actually was on my way to the hospital. I was unconscious by the time I was in the ambulance. So I mean, I went dramatically decreased, and so I went through an emergency brain surgery that night to stop the massive bleed. I was in a 17-day drug-induced coma and woke up completely paralyzed on the left side when I woke up. And so it just went from what I thought was, not feeling well to obviously something worse. And it's one of those things you realize something's wrong when it's too late. And I remember sitting there thinking, there is something drastically wrong. And I remember where I was laying on the floor. I could see my purse, and I remember saying to the paramedic, my insurance card is in my purse. And I'm sure the paramedic was thinking at the time, lady, that is the least of your worries where your insurance card is. But thanks for the information. We'll get right on that. But I had no idea. I just remember thinking, something's wrong, and my insurance card is right there if
So
you need
that,
it.
yeah, funny.
But it's just all reality of where you're at the time. But God, I'm so thankful I had the faith I did. And for those of you that are listening, if you don't have a faith, I encourage you to lean into God and learn more about Him. And if you do, I'm so thankful you do, because I don't know where I would be today if I didn't have the faith I did, because my faith journey has even increased since my stroke. But it just between my faith, my perseverance, and my positivity, that's really what's carried me through.
Yeah, wow, talk about faith, talk about God. I'm here to tell you, if you don't believe there's God, I had a near death experience, okay? I've been there. There's a God, there's another side to this life. In fact, life is more real. To what you can't see, it's the spiritual realm. We are humans, bodies, human people. We're eternal spiritual creatures living inside a human body. And really,
Yeah.
Lori, I'm there. I know. With you. I drew closer. My second life, my second chance after my stroke was really spiritual journey. I've been on a spiritual journey ever since.
Well, we have a second chance to do whatever we
Right.
choose to do. I mean, he's given us a second chance. And, we can choose to do nothing and give up, or we can choose to take these challenges and do something with it. And thank you, John, by the way, for putting that in the Facebook of what
No, thank
FAST
you.
stands for. Yeah, that's great. But yes, and really look at my challenges as opportunities, and that's all come from God to really use our challenges for a purpose. And He's really come alongside me and said, you can't change the challenges you go through, but what you can change is your reaction to those challenges, your circumstances, and how you react to those, and what you do with them. And that's where your story begins. That's where your journey really starts and where you can go
That
from there
that
is
is
what
so
your reaction
true,
is.
Lori. I mean, really. And you and I mentioned this in the so many stroke survivors have stroke, and it defines them, and they live an isolated life, waiting to die. But
Yes.
it's stroke is what happened to you. How you respond really defines what your future's like. So, Laura, you
Yes.
chose to write a book. And
I
I'm
did.
to
I did.
pull. I want people to order this book. Take a look at this book on put up here. Right there's the books your own choices. And I want you to look at that. Right now, if you scan the QR code with your phone, it'll take you right to the link to Amazon. You can buy the book right here. So, Lori, I'm curious. Tell us a little about your book and what it's about.
Yes. So I always thought I might write a book about my stroke journey. And actually, this book turned out to be completely different. It's all about really the blessings and challenges my husband and I have gone through our entire marriage, which includes my medical. Not only did I have my stroke, but I actually became an epileptic from the stroke. My brain started interacting with the blood deposits and scar tissue. And so I developed epilepsy. We went through several life changes. He lost his job 2 months after my hospital discharge. So we moved actually cross country from Minnesota to Arizona. So I talk about that transition. And so I was in a transition of not only figuring out who I was after the stroke, but then learning how to make new friends and develop new friends as someone with a disability and recreate a new environment that way and learn in a new neuro rehab facility and setting. And I talk about that. And then, as I was sharing with you, we were actually just 5 years into our marriage when my stroke happened, and we were trying to start our own family. And so, 8 years post stroke, we decided that we would embark in our family planning through adoption. So we adopted a sibling group of three internationally. And that was also a journey of blessings and challenges in itself. So I talk about that in my book. And I am very much a glass half full type personality. And so I try and look at things that way. And not only, though, is it my story, at the end of each chapter, I put reflection questions because I wanted it to be also a chance for the reader to explore their own journey. And it was really important to me that the reader take that opportunity to explore. And that is one thing I'm so grateful for, Erin, is through this. God has not only used writing to help me explore my own journey, but He's used it as a processing tool. He's used it as a healing tool. And I've just learned to be more reflective as a person through my own writing. So I hope others will pick up my book and enjoy my journey and my story, but they'll also learn maybe how to reflect on their own journey and enjoy writing as their own processing tool through it.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm so really I can see weighing into choices, not just stroke. It's choices you made throughout your life.
Oh, choices. Yes, definitely. And I use that. I am so glad God gave me that title because I use choices all the time. I mean, I think about that all the time. I use that in my speech all the time because really, when you think about it, life is all about choices. It's all about what you eat, what you drink, what you do, what you wear, where you go. It it becomes a way of life, really.
It's amazing that, let's talk about stroke for a minute. Yeah,
Sure.
everybody out there, if you're a stroke survivor, you have a choice to be a stroke victim, let stroke define who you are, or choose, make a choice not to let
Yes.
stroke define you. Because it's a choice not to be a victim, and it's a choice not to have life after stroke. And like Lori, I mean, when you were, to me, you're newly married to 5 years. That's fairly new to me because I've been married over 30 years. But it's a choice. You responded by choosing to live.
Yes, yes. And sometimes it's the unexpected challenges that are the hardest, like a stroke. I try and speak to others now about moving forward through your challenges. Because not only are there challenges that happen to us, but we have to recognize the challenges that happen to us through family members, there's things that happen to us challenge wise every single day that are just unexpected. And it comes down to that choice of what are you going to do with it. And as we get older, those challenges are just going to continue to come, and with that we have to be prepared of what choice are we going to
Yeah,
make, because it just doesn't get
right,
easier.
right. Because I think it really, there's one thing I feel like really driving home is that choice. You right now,
Yes,
struggle have a choice to be it, to
yes.
sit there and do nothing with your life afterwards, or you're a public speaker too, aren't you?
I am, and I'm not sitting here saying it's easy. You and I both know it's not easy, and I've learned so much too about the recovery and the neuroplasticity of the brain and the ability to recover. And for those of you that are stroke survivors and sitting here listening to this, I completely understand that it's not easy. And as far as stroke recovery, I'm still actually 20 years into it in therapy. I go 2 days a week, 2 hours a day, each time I'm there. And so it's a marathon, not a race. And that's something else I've had to learn is I am very much into perseverance and just get it done, hurry up and get it done, and then you can fit in. And I just had to learn along the journey that vulnerability is important, transparency is important, and I'm not going to just get over this. I'm not going to be able to just persevere and in a blink of an eye not have a disability. It's just who I am. And people are either going to accept you or they're not going to accept you. And that's their choice. But your choice is how you're going to live your new normal. And your new normal can be full of happiness and joy and success, but it's what you create it to be.
Yeah, right. Now, listen, Lori just ended there, but it's what you create it to be. It's a choice. You can create
Yes.
your life. You are in control of your destiny. You're in control of future. And do not let stroke define you. You define what
No,
stroke
no.
is. Look at Lord. I'm doing a show. I have a speech that I said. I do a show twice a week. And Lori is an author, she's a public speaker. I'm telling you, there's nothing supernatural about us. We're just average people that made what? A choice. And you can right now, today, make that choice.
And honestly, it goes back to God,
Right,
right, Aaron? I mean, He's our
right.
creator, right? So He's the one that can give you the strength or not give you the strength. And He's the one that created us. He'll take us home when He's ready to take us home. And He's going to give us the gifts and the skills and the opportunities that He wants to give us for as long as we're here on
Yeah,
earth. And that's how I
I,
view
I
it.
agree.
This is our journey that He's given us to
Yeah,
fulfill.
Lori, that's a really key word, the word journey. You know, I got kind of frustrated early on. I'm 13 years post stroke, brain aneurysm stroke.
Mm,
The thing I see most common, I did it. Compare yourself to other stroke survivors. Oh, they're doing much better than me. Now. Look at that. They're only a year after stroke and they're walking, talking. Don't compare yourself. This is your
no.
journey. Stroke is individual,
Yes.
right?
Yes, that's hard, isn't it? It's very hard not to compare. And I would like to, I'm so glad you addressed that, Aaron, because that is very hard. And many times, especially media, addresses stroke with the most positive outcomes and not the
Right,
hardest
true.
outcomes. And we compare ourselves to those outcomes and we say, well, why can't we be like that? And why can't we do better? And we have to remember we're on our own
Right,
journey. So thank you for addressing that.
right.
Yes.
As a pitfall, if I was to pick a dominating pitfall, don't compare. It's a journey. It's your journey. That other person looking, I think it's great, Lori. Everybody on social media put what's easy, what looks, it looks easy, but they don't see. I struggle every day. Lori struggles with different things, fights with things. Everybody has a harder time what appears on social media. So don't look at social media as your gaze, because we're doing something, and I believe I'm not a big advocate of the word recovery. I think it's a lifelong journey, and I think it's more rebuilding. That means you won't ever see
I
how
love
it
that.
is. We're rebuilding our life after stroke. That's what we're doing, Laurie. I think that's my opinion, how I view it. But
Yes, I like that. I like that a lot. Yes, that's important to remember. Rebuilding, I'll have to remember that. And I do think it's also important to just remember to keep going one step at a time.
yeah, like that's probably the thing I felt was a part of Australian is celebrating those little wins, which is really important strokes survive out there. I'm guilty of not doing it. My big win is riding a horse someday. It's where I work. How bad. I have a dream of riding a horse someday. But I didn't win is I twitched my finger yesterday. That my pal. I mean, you have to celebrate those little wins in your life, right?
Yes, yes. Well, I'll share. I didn't share it in my book, so you won't see it in my book. But as my book was coming out and I was going through the marketing, I was actually pre-diagnosed with ovarian cancer. I'm cancer free, thankfully. I went through a full hysterectomy and appendectomy. However, God used that as an amazing opportunity to uh, start volunteering at the cancer center
Yeah.
after my surgery recovery, which was wonderful. I have some dear friends and an amazing support group now at the cancer center. But I have to say that one thing I learned there at the cancer center is the importance of survivorship, and they do an amazing job. That the stroke environment doesn't do as well at, and that is celebrating survivorship. And it was the first time that I had really keyed in and heard of a celebration of survivorship, because I don't think that people view stroke nearly the same as they view cancer and other diseases. And I was never exposed to other diseases as I was as exposed to stroke. And so this is just my first reality of it being exposed to a different, different I guess you could say genre of disease, for a better word. But just the idea of celebrating your survivorship, celebrating what you have accomplished. And I just thought that was so special that they did that. And that the stroke world in general does not celebrate accomplishments, does not celebrate what you've done. So I encourage you, celebrate what you've done, celebrate what you've accomplished, and that you're alive and what you've done, and start looking at what you've done and what you have become and not what you've lost, because that's just so important. And I know we're running low on time, but I'll just encourage your listeners also and those on Facebook. I often my husband actually even bought me a little turtle that I keep on my dashboard because I do drive now. Because I often refer to the story of the tortoise and the hare, and I always feel like the tortoise in the story, and someone as a disability, I'm the slow one always. However, if we remember the tortoise and the hare in the story, the tortoise is the one that won the race. He's the one that had the best attitude, the perseverance, and even though he was a slow one, he was the one that kept going one step at a time, slowly but surely, and he's the one that won the race. So I have a little turtle that bobs its head, and I name it Shirley, that sits on my dashboard. And so just remember, if you're the slow one, you are just like that turtle. You're going to win the race. And the hare didn't win the race, but the turtle did.
Wow, that just kept me stoked down right there. Thank you for sharing that because so many times I forget that it's a journey. You're
It
the
is.
turtle. Don't be, but that too. But celebrate. You played a step. You did something different. I
Yeah.
didn't get where I'm
Yeah.
at doing a show like instantaneous popping the show took time, one step at a time. And stroke in that stroke survival. But I do want to kind of take the last couple of minutes because you touched on something I don't think we've touched on my show. Celebrate survival. What does that mean? Could you go over that again? Each one of us need to do. What does that mean?
Yes. So for me, so I actually did a celebration in January because January was my 20th anniversary of my stroke. And I've never celebrated my stroke. And I told my family, you know what? We have never celebrated my stroke. And of course, my family, to them, it was not necessarily a celebration. It was, it was a very difficult day. But for me, it's I didn't survive. I have now learned to thrive. I've learned to thrive in my new normal. So we actually celebrated our 20-year stroke survivorship and thriving in our new normal, as well as our 25th wedding
Wow.
anniversary. And we just had a big
Wow.
party. And the party was thriving in your new normal. And I just encourage you guys to look at how have you thrived in your new normal. And if you're just a new stroke survivor, how can you thrive in your new normal? And if you're not there yet and you haven't thrived in your new normal, start making a list of what that looks like and what do you want to do to thrive in your new normal? Because we can all do it. Just a matter of what do you want to do?
It's so great, man. I forgot. I used to, but I need to get back into it. I heard people say something called stroke anniversary. But I'll be honest with you,
Mm.
since I had my stroke, I celebrated called celebration of life. And I was what I was doing is celebrating my survival. I didn't realize that's a term, but I would rather celebrate with my celebration of life on September 17th when I had my stroke. That really became my birthday. I was given a second chance. I was born that day. And so I want to encourage you and everybody out there, and I could tell Lloyd that too, that don't just do your celebration of life. Take that day and don't make it all depressing, don't make it sad, but celebrate it. I don't know about you, Lloyd, but my family does a cake, no presents, but does a cake, special dinner, celebrates life. So great, do it, celebrate it. You're a survivor. You lived it.
Yes, 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 yes. And it's your life to do whatever you want, right? And I love the fact that you reminded us it's rebuilding, right? It's like a house, one step at a time, one block at a
Yeah,
time.
I think I like the word. I was always taken by the word. No, I was always, oh no, I'm not rehab. I'm not rehabilitating or not. I'm not magically gonna get better. I got to
No,
rebuild my life as a stroke, and you have to rebuild your life. I love it because it shows action. You have to pick up a hammer, pound the nail. You have to rebuild your life. So we're getting right down to the end of the show, which I knew it'd go by quick. But Lori, and let me do this. What piece of advice would you give a new stroke survivor?
I would encourage them to look at what you had in your previous life that you can use in this new normal and use it. But what you're not capable of, don't hold on to that. I mean, there's so many things in my previous opportunities, like sales and marketing, that I'm using now that God's granted me that opportunity, but there's so many things I can't do that you just have to give up on. So find out what in your new normal you can still do and be excited about those things. And the things that you can't do, be okay with, and find a support group that understands you and hold on to that. And if you have friends that don't understand you in your new normal, then it might be time for you to find a new support group that does understand you, because support is 100% a huge part of the game. So find that group that's going to understand you and give you the support you need, because we're not meant to walk this road
Well,
alone.
that would agree with Dan's show because getting this find your support, find you need it. There's stroke survivors not a lonely, a solo journey. It's you're gonna need that support. So I appreciate that. Angela says, take baby steps every day. You focus on what you can do, not what you can't do. Right? I mean, it's really that's
Yes.
key. So, Lori, man, I can't believe here we are. Oh, we're actually over time, but I really, really want to thank you for being here. Thank you for pop up your book for just a minute. Take a look at this. You just been scan the QR code, order the book, charge us, and definitely we'll definitely be able to getting reviews. I think they can review the book on Amazon. Am I right? But
Yes. Yes.
celebrate your wins, everybody. Celebrate your wins. Life is not over. Life is actually just changed. It's not over.
Yes.
Lori, thank you
Definitely.
so much for being here, honey. Really appreciate it. Had such a great time. I can keep going. I'm excited. So thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you. I'll look forward to talking to you again soon.
All
Thank you so
right. Thank you.
much.
Everybody have a great day. Bye.